What is up? Ooh, man. What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, happy Tuesday, everybody. It's time for everybody to return to work, to return from school. The holiday is over, and the WNBA is almost at the playoffs. We got about a week and some change left until the WNBA season is officially over, which means we have some serious conversations that we need to be having about some of these teams. Guys, we are going to go pound for pound, team for team. We're going to give you the case against and the case for the playoffs for the LA Sparks, the Seattle Storm, and the Indiana Fever. Okay, guys, let's get into it, guys. Cause Quita in the morning starts now.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready, set, go.
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. All right, guys. Well, I've kind of told you all what to expect in this live stream. It's about to be a fun time. I hope y'all are ready. I want to go through this because I think it's actually very, very important to do. Because when we talk about the playoffs is a glorious time, right? It's a glorious time where teams can compete for a championship. When the playoff hits, it's 0-0. If you made it to the playoffs, you have a chance to win a championship. Is it likely? Likely not for the bottom picks. However, as we know in the WNBA, any and everybody can get got. Remember in 2021? 2022? When the Chicago Sky won a championship and they entered the playoffs at 500, right? They started off the season horrible. They kind of got it together. And it just overall did look great for the Sky. But then they went into the playoffs and then they won the championship. Y'all remember that? So it's possible for a bottom team or a not so good team to win a WNBA championship because when the playoffs hit, it is 0-0, guys. I want to talk about the case for and against because I do think there are cases for and against. But before we get into that, I do want to level set with you all on what we are working with. I spent some time creating some slides that I think will be super helpful. And yes, I did make the font size larger. So let me know if you all can actually read this. But we're going to go team by team of the teams that are still able to make the playoffs. Remember, guys, Washington Mystics is officially out. But we want to start off with the LA Sparks, guys. Now, again, let me know if you all think this is a little bit too small. I feel like it's big enough. Anyway, the LA Sparks. Right now, they are sitting in 9th place in WNBA seeding, which means that they still have quite of an uphill battle to go. I want to talk about what's coming up for the LA Sparks, right? 19 and 20, sitting at that 9th spot. For the upcoming games, they have a lot of opportunities. I feel like in terms of the teams that I'm talking about today, like in terms of the Sparks, the Storm, the Fever, I feel like the Sparks are in the best scenario of choose your own destiny. I think that's what this is. Because the LA Sparks have a lot of chances to make some stuff happen, but they got to show up and step up their game, right? When we talk about the LA Sparks coming up, they will see the Atlanta Dream twice. Now, the Atlanta Dream is rocking and rolling. They're looking very, very good. However, we all know any and everybody can and will get got. And for the LA Sparks, yes, uphill battle, but you play the Atlanta Dream twice. Both are away. The A means that it's an away game. All right. Parentheses A means it's an away game. So they're playing the Atlanta Dream twice. away. Then they play the Dallas Wings. Then they play the Mercury away. And then the Aces. Now, the LA Sparks can choose their own destiny on whether or not they are able to make the WNBA playoffs. But to be completely fair, yes, Tisha, that's a super hard schedule. It is. It is. But I think they have a chance. I think they have a chance. I really do think they have a chance. But in order to do that, this team needs to win basically 4 of these games to guarantee they have a playoff spot, right? Dallas, you see that as a possible as an easy win, hopefully for the LA Sparks. For the Atlanta Dream, you're gonna have to play up. You are going to have to play up. Right now, Ghost is predicting that the Sparks go 1-4. I think the conventional wisdom says 1-4. They'll go for 1-4 with the rest of the schedule. However, they have a lot of games, and who knows? Who knows what can happen? Okay, who knows what can happen? But we're gonna go through all the teams, and we're gonna go back and talk about it. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all some information, and then we're gonna go back and have a conversation. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. All right. And also, guys, if y'all could, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Thank you in advance. Next up, guys, I want to talk about the Seattle Storm. Because while Seattle is sitting in that 8th spot with a record of 22 wins and 20 losses, even though they're sort of hanging out towards the bottom, they have a playoff spot right now. This is one of those situations where Seattle actually does not have a ton of games left, which means that not only do they need to win, they also need to count on the LA Sparks to lose, right? And which is why I thought that the LA Sparks had a chance to really choose their own destiny, because this is a team that has the games left to try to make a miracle happen. Whereas Seattle, they will have to just be watching and hoping and praying that the LA Sparks lose. Does that make sense? Right now we have 2 games upcoming for the Seattle Storm, and these are 2 home games, but they're against really good teams. Now I don't anticipate them beating the Liberty, right? But the Valks seems to be like a win, though. I mean, we just saw Seattle lose yesterday in a game that they absolutely should have won. So anything can happen. Anything can happen, and we're gonna talk about the risk that the Seattle Storm is taking. But yeah, we just saw yesterday that Seattle lost yesterday to the LA Sparks. If Seattle loses both against the Valkyrie and the Liberty, as I said, yes, uphill battle for the LA Sparks, but they have enough games left to possibly jump over the Seattle Storm. And then let's talk about number 7, the Indiana Fever. The Indiana Fever they once were at that number 8 spot. Now they are at a record of 21 wins, 19 losses in that 7th spot. We do have a couple of games for the Indiana Fever left. We do see them play against the Mercury away. They play at home against the Chicago Sky on the 5th. On the 7th, they play the Washington Mystics away, and they play the Minnesota Lynx on the 9th. All right, so basically every other day they're going to be playing. This is a winnable playoff spot for the Indiana Fever, right? This is one of those situations where, in terms of Indiana, Seattle, LA, seems like Indiana is in the best possible position to actually eke out a playoff spot. Whether that's at number 7, whether that's at number 8, maybe they're able to jump. Maybe they're able to jump the Valks at number 6. But I anticipate the Indiana Fever being able to win at least 2 of these games against the Chicago Sky and against the Washington Mystics. I don't anticipate them beating the Mercury or the Lynx, and I don't think they need to, unless the Seattle Storm wins the next 2 of their games, and unless the LA Sparks wins 4 out of the 5, it seems likely that the Indiana Fever will make the playoffs. Now, there's some more information that you all need to know. Let's talk about draft picks. Because when we talk about the case for and against making the playoffs, the number one thing in our minds needs to be next year. We got to look at we have to look at the draft and draft prospects. Here's the thing. Teams that don't make it in to the playoffs, they're going to get entered into the lottery, which could be very helpful for certain teams. Right? First up, let's look at the LA Sparks. Here's the thing. The LA Sparks are in a not so great position. Not a great position if they don't make the playoffs. There is no incentive for the LA Sparks to lose and not make the playoffs. Right? The reason why is because, remember, guys, y'all remember that, 3-way trade that we saw in the offseason, right? The trade between the Las Vegas Aces, the LA Sparks, the Seattle Storm. Well, yeah. The LA Sparks are paying for that trade. Now, was it a good trade? Yeah, of course. It got Kelsey Plum to the LA Sparks, and that has been working out very well. But if the LA Sparks do not win at least 3 out of the next 5 games, and they don't make the playoffs, well, that lottery pick that they're going to get, they don't keep it. It doesn't go to them. That lottery pick will go to Seattle. So Seattle is very much looking forward to the LA Sparks losing, because Seattle will benefit severely if the LA Sparks don't make the playoffs, because LA doesn't own their first round pick. Now, the LA Sparks do have Seattle's second round pick for next year, but I'm not talking about second round. I am specifically talking about first round, okay? So LA does not own their pick. Their first round pick is going to Seattle. Now, for Seattle's in a good position. They're in a really, really good position. The reason why is because Seattle's pick, their normal pick, is not going to them. They can't keep their normal pick. Seattle's normal pick is going over to Washington. So they've traded away their first round pick, their natural first round pick. They've traded that away to Washington, to the Washington Mystics. All right. And remember that was the trade that I believe that was the trade that involved Brittany Sykes. Remember, Brittany Sykes is now on the Seattle Storm. And so that's part of what Washington got. I worded this wrong. So Washington owns Seattle's pick for the first round, and then Seattle owns the LA Sparks and the Las Vegas Aces picks for the first round. Sorry, I did word that wrong. Okay? So Seattle, if LA does not make the playoffs, will have a lottery pick. The natural Seattle pick will go to the Washington Mystics. And Seattle also owns the Las Vegas Aces pick. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. And then for the Indiana Fever, well, they straight up own their first round pick. So the Indiana Fever, if they don't make the playoffs, then they're gonna get a lottery pick, which not a bad deal. I'm just saying, not a bad deal. All right. Okay. Now I want to show one more slide until we really get into this discussion. I'm confusing you. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to confuse you. This Seattle one is I messed up on that one. I messed up on that one because yeah. I'll see if I can try to fix it. I'm not trying to be confusing. Sorry if I am. All right, let's get to the final slide I want to talk about before we actually get into the conversation. So, when we talk about whether or not it will benefit a team in the long term or the short term to not make the playoffs, not only do we have to talk about the draft picks, but we also have to talk about coaching. Because, there's some hot seat coaches out there if they don't make the playoffs. We saw it last year, the great exodus of the WNBA, where teams lost in droves their head coaches, where it felt like you don't make the playoffs, you're out of here, bucko. We'll see what this year has to offer. Now, I wanted to have this slide because I wanted to talk about where I felt like things were. Now, when we look at coaching, well, Lynn Roberts is in the best situation possible, in my opinion. Lynn Roberts is the best situation possible. The LA Sparks are looking a whole lot better. The decision to bring in Kelsey Plum has been very, very beneficial. We're seeing Rickea Jackson develop a whole lot more. We're seeing Azurá Stevens do her thing, have a most improved season, right? We're seeing Dearica Hamby be Dearica. We've seen a lot of success from this team, and I think we're starting to figure out what a Lynn Roberts offense and defense looks like in the WNBA. And I think the LA Sparks are in a really good position. I think they're in a really good position. Like this, remember, guys, the LA Sparks have not been that great. Big Girl says, don't forget Tyler March. Here's the thing. In this stream, I am only focusing on 3 teams. So if you talk about a team that is not the LA Sparks, the Seattle Storm, or the Indiana Fever, guys, this is not the stream for you. We will have another stream where I will specifically talk about Tyler Marsh and Chris Koklanis and the other coaches that are, in a warmish seat. So specifically, we're only talking about LA, Seattle, Indiana. So I'm not ignoring other coaches. This is just not the time to talk about the other coaches. Okay? All right. So here's the thing. For the LA Sparks, in order to really appreciate where the LA Sparks are right now, well, guys, you have to understand where they were before. And I gotta say, we have seen a better LA Sparks this year than we have in the past. Now, let's go back to 2024. In 2024, we saw the LA Sparks win only 8 games. They didn't even win 10 games last year. The LA Sparks with head coach Kurt Miller were trash last year. Now, yes, was a huge part of that Cameron Brink getting hurt? Yes. If Cameron Brink was not hurt, maybe the LA Sparks win more than 10 games. Do they win 20? No. And so when we're looking from last year to this year, Rickea Jackson has been playing much better from the start in terms of her actually getting minutes. Because remember last year, like originally, Rickea Jackson wasn't really playing. And then she kind of forced the conversation to be like, no, you better play me because every time I get in the game, I'm doing something good. You better play me. And then she started playing later in the season. But like, it was just a lot of missteps. A lot of missteps for the LA Sparks last year. And they were like, you know what? Kurt Miller, I mean, you know, let's mutually decide for you to go. They bring in Lynn Roberts, the head coach of Utah. Lynn Roberts had an incentive to leave because Utah was going from the Pac-12 to I don't even know what conference they're in right now, and she didn't want to not coach in the Pac-12. She was like, let me go on to the WNBA. Let me go on to the WNBA. Let me see how my system works in the WNBA. And she has, with the help of the newly acquired Kelsey Plum, she has helped to reinvigorate this team, right? This team looks a whole lot better, a whole lot more confident, and it is a whole lot funner to watch, right? Cam Brink is finally back. You have, again, Azare Dierica playing amazing. Rickea Jackson is amazing. I mean, Kelsey Plum, we already knew what she could do. All that good jazz. Lynn Roberts is in a perfect situation. She has turned a team that was 8-32 last year to 19-20 this year. She is super safe. I don't anticipate anything negative happening to Lynn Roberts in this offseason. Even if they don't make the playoffs. Even if they do not make the playoffs, Lynn Roberts is going to be fine because she has turned this team around. Okay? Next up, let's talk about the 8th seed, Seattle Storm. Here's the thing, guys. I think, here's my opinion. If the Seattle Storm do not make the playoffs, and if they don't make it past the first round, I think that Noelle Quinn is getting fired. I think her seat is so hot, it's about to be on fire. Her seat is so hot, it's about to be on fire if they don't make the playoffs and if they don't make it past the first round. Because here's the thing. Noelle Quinn is someone who, she played for Seattle, right? Remember? She played for Seattle. She was super, she's on a really good team, right? Her and Stewie and Sue Bird were on the team together and whatnot. And so she knows what excellence in Seattle looks like. Noelle Quinn has been on this team going on 5 years now, 5 seasons as the head coach. And during her time, now, ignore the 2023 season. Ignore the 2023 season. Ignore it. Because 2023 was when basically Jewel Lloyd was by herself, and like I don't count that season against Noelle Quinn because she didn't have much talent. She really didn't. She did not have much talent. But what I want to talk about is last year and this year. Last year, the Seattle Storm had Jewel Lloyd, Skylar Diggins, Nneka Ogwumike. Really good team. And a team that showed a lot of promise, right? In terms of individual talent. Now you could say, yeah, it's the first year with that team. You know, and they had some issues and yada, yada. They make it to the playoffs. Ultimately, guys, they lose in the first round. Not great. Right? Not great. We move on to this year, where the Seattle Storm, again, has good talent, shows sparks of greatness. Get it? Sparks. But this is a team that consistently seems to flounder when they shouldn't. This is a team that loses games and it's like, what in the world? What are y'all doing? This is a team that sometimes gets into hero ball mode, or we're just going to go out there and do whatever we want to do. And it's not really any schemes. And like, it's sometimes they look excellent on the court and sometimes they look like trash. And the weird thing is you see the talent on this team and it's confusing as to why they play like trash sometimes. It really is. I find it very confusing. And I still haven't figured out exactly what's wrong with Seattle. Like, I don't know if it's like a mentality type of thing, because you got some dogs on your team. You got Skylar, you got NECA, right? You got Gabby Williams. Like, you have some really good players. Some players who like literally got that dog in them. They can hoop. And then sometimes you see the rotations and you see the fact that still, Dominique Malonga, who, in my opinion, should have been starting mid-season over Ezzie McMagor, she still isn't starting. Right? You see them bring in a player like a Brittany Sykes from Washington, and that hasn't really lifted up a spark in this team, right? You had Alicia Clark, one of the vets in the league, decide that she wanted to lead the team, right? One of the former stars of the Seattle Storm who came back, she wants to be gone, right? Anyway, after coaching for 5 seasons for the Seattle Storm, take out the 2023 season. Take that out. This team has not made it to the finals, right? They made it to, I believe the best they did was the second. They lost in the second round, right? Last year they lost in the first round. This year they may not even make the playoffs. But again, even if they make the playoffs, I think the experiment for Noelle Quinn will be gone. Now, is that a bummer? Yes, but at the same time, she has had 5 years. I am of the mind, personally, that coaches need to be getting preferably a minimum of 3 years to really see what they can do. I think we've seen what Noelle Quinn can do. I think we've seen her with some really good talent. Now, personally, I'm not calling for anybody to get fired, but I can absolutely understand if the Seattle Storm would get rid of her. I could absolutely see that with like all the allegations and all that stuff that has been floating around Seattle, all that jazz. I really do think that this might be the end for Noelle Quinn in Seattle. Is that a good thing? I don't know, but I think that's definitely what's going to happen. So, it's Noelle Quinn. Moving on to Stephanie White with the Indiana Fever. Last year, the Indiana Fever made the playoffs. Right? This year, the Indiana Fever likely will make the playoffs. Last year, Caitlin Clark was healthy for the season. This year, she's been hurt most of the season. Last year, this team had Christy Sides, who people declared was a bad coach. They had Christy Sides. They had Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Nalissa Smith, Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark. This offseason, they brought in a whole bunch of players, right? Bringing Natasha Howard, right? You got Sophie Cunningham. You got Brianna Turner. You bring in Sydney Colson. You bring in some vets, right? Some vets. You bring in DeWanna Bonner, and you do all this stuff, and you're like, we want to win now. This is a team that has championship expectations. We want to win now. And you bring in the personnel to do that. And we proceed to see not the best season for the Indiana Fever. Last year, the Indiana Fever win 20 games. They go 20 for 20 on the season. Right? So far this year, with 4 games left to go in the season, the Indiana Fever are sitting at 21 wins. Might end up finishing the season with 23. Sure, we did see better success for the Indiana Fever in terms of how they played when everybody was available. But injuries hurt, injuries suck, and injuries can derail your season. Now, do I think that if everybody was healthy for the Indiana Fever, do I think that they would be like a 2 or 3 spot in the playoffs? No. But I do think they'd probably be closer to number 5 or 6 in the playoffs. They'd be in a better situation. But the injuries have kind of derailed things. And which is why I put Stephanie White in a warm seat. Stephanie White was hired basically to win now. She was hired to give the Indiana Fever a championship. That's what she was hired to do. Right? You surround her with a whole bunch of talent, but injuries happen, players leave. And now you're in a situation where you are fighting for a playoff spot. So is Stephanie White a good coach? I think so. Should she be in a warm seat? No, in my opinion, she should not be, because again, I think you should give coaches at least 3 years, at least, right? But with all of the hype, all of the attention, and all of the win now of the Indiana Fever, I do think it's a warm seat, right? Because the Indiana Fever are trying to structure it where they can win a championship before Caitlin's rookie deal is over, because they want her to stay with the team for forever, right? They want to capitalize on the notoriety, they want to capitalize on the attention, and they want to win a championship. And so, yeah, I think it's a warm seat. Should it be a warm seat? No, but I think it's a warm seat because of all the pressure around anything related to the Indiana Fever. Those are my thoughts there. Those are my thoughts there. MMAP says Stephanie is not even in a warm seat for me. The whole team has been injured. The only way I see her in the warm seat is if they can get mostly healthy and get Caitlin back and get swept in the first round. JLE says Steph White is an old guard coach. It's time to throw that out. Give me some Esco Tibbetts, Nakase type coach. Is Stephanie White really considered an old guard? Like, she's not, though. I don't think she's the old guard coach. I really don't. I don't. But yeah. Anyway. Dion said they gave Kurt 2. Yeah, they did. And they had to get rid of him because it's literally the LA Sparks won 8 games last year. So I understand why they had to get rid of him. I understand that. I understand that. Okay, guys? I understand it. Jay Ali says, do you think the Sun played modern basketball? Do you think the Mercury played modern basketball this year? The Sun, just like the Mercury this year, they play through one person. Her name is Alyssa Thomas, if you don't know. The Connecticut Sun played a defensive style game last year. The Phoenix Mercury play a defensive style game this year. So I guess I'm confused. If Nate Tibbetts is the new guard, the way the Phoenix Mercury run has some significant similarities to the way that the Connecticut Sun played last year. Right? They're very similar. It's just that the Mercury have a couple more shooters. It's the same style though. I'm very confused. If Nate Tibbetts is the new guard and his style this year is very similar to last year's Connecticut Sun team, I'm very confused. I'm very confused. I am. I don't understand what you're talking about. I really don't. I don't. How give me your argument for Nate Tibbetts. I think Nate Tibbetts is a great coach. I do. I do. I do. I think he's a great coach. And the Mercury are better shooters this year. Right? But if you just watch the way they play and watch who they play through, it's through the same person. It's the same person. So, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, the Mercury shoot more threes. Yeah, to shoot more threes. But like, there is a ton of similarities between the Phoenix Mercury this year and the Connecticut Sun last year. Maybe I'll do a full stream about it. Like there is a lot of similarities. It's just a massive difference is we do have more shooters on the Phoenix Mercury this year than last year. But the way they play with the huge emphasis on defense over everything, it's the same. So if defense is the old guard, well, the Mercury are the old guard when you said that they're not because they have Tibbetts. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused with that statement. Anyway, also, guys, if y'all could, please do me a huge favor, hit that like button. It really does help the channel out a whole lot. Thank you so much in advance. Thank you. Overall, that's what we got for the coaching, for the players, all that stuff. So now let's go team by team and let's talk about the case for and against the playoffs. The case for the playoffs for the LA Sparks is that they have nothing to lose, right? If they don't make the playoffs, they don't benefit with the lottery pick. They don't benefit, right? Because they don't even own their lottery pick. Remember, guys, if the LA Sparks don't make the playoffs, that lottery pick is going to Seattle. So, nothing to lose. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. All right? The case against the playoffs is nothing for LA. Because, again, LA does not own their first round pick. So, to me, the case for and against for LA is just make the playoffs. Because you don't benefit from not making the playoffs. You don't. Not at all. Because you don't even own your draft pick. So for LA, make it. If you don't make it, it's fine. You're a whole lot better than last year. And you have a coach for the future. Now, you want to talk about a modern coach? A modern coach? That's Lynn Roberts right there. Yeah, that's Lynn Roberts, right? And the way they play, yeah, that's a different style. Then anyway, let me get off that. Okay, next up, the Seattle Storm. The case for making the playoffs is to save Noelle Quinn's job. I think Noelle Quinn will be severely in the hot seat, likely fired if they don't make the playoffs. So the case for making the playoffs is you save Noelle Quinn. Save Noelle Quinn. And actually show off the potential of the Seattle Storm team. The Seattle Storm is a team that can make it to the second round, right? They have a chance of messing around and finding out, of another team messing around and finding out, and Seattle making it to the finals. It's a possibility. Now, is it likely? No, not likely at all. But you never know. So for the Seattle Storm, it's all about making it to the playoffs because you save your coach. You can save the identity of this team. Here's the thing. Not only is Noelle, in my opinion, going to be gone if this team does not make the playoffs, but also Skylar, Nneka, I don't know about them two leading this team for the foreseeable future, because the Seattle Storm ownership wants a championship, right? You bring in 2 stars, didn't work last year with Jewel Lloyd. Okay, you reset this year, bring in some other players, and it's not going to work. I think they may be on another team next year. I'm just saying. For Seattle, as I said before, it doesn't benefit them. If they don't make the playoffs, because they do not own their first round pick. Their first round pick goes to Washington. So if the Seattle Storm do not make the playoffs, well, the Washington Mystics have 2 lottery picks for next year. Right? Amarachi says Nneka might go to the Sparks next year. I could absolutely see that. I could totally see that, guys. I could totally see that. I really could. Yeah. I really could. And then for the Indiana Fever, number 7, the case for the playoffs is you need to show people what the Indiana Fever are capable of doing if healthy. Right? You have to show what they can do if they are fully healthy. This is a team that has potential greatness ahead. Right? You have the future of your team in Caitlin and Aaliyah and Kelsey Mitchell, right? Even though Sophie has gone down, Sydney Colson has gone down, right? Ari McDonald has gone down. You do have some great players that you picked up. Players like Aerial Powers, players like Odyssey Sims. You have Lexi Hull, even despite her black eyes can get out there and make some stuff happen, right? If the Indiana Fever can make the playoffs, hopefully Caitlin comes back. We could see this. We could see the Indiana Fever make some serious noise in the playoffs. So the case for the playoffs is truly showing what a healthy Indiana Fever team can do, right? And hopefully spinning the narrative that even more players should be seriously considering going to Indiana next year. Because Indiana, we're going to see them do a similar thing to what they did this offseason. They are going to bring in a bunch of top talent in the league, especially with basically everybody being a free agent. With the new CBA that's going to come into effect, Indiana's going to throw the bag at players. And right now you need to further create the narrative that Indiana is the place to be. So for me, this is a situation where Indiana needs to make the playoffs to garner more support for other players to come to the team next year. And to also just show truly what a healthy team could do and what they could have done if they were healthy to start the season. The case against the playoffs for the Indiana Fever, I gotta say, is a lottery pick, guys. Here's the thing. The Indiana Fever are one of the rare teams that actually own their pick for next year. They own their pick. So, if you don't make the playoffs, you have an opportunity to be a lottery pick. Now, because you made the playoffs last year, your chances for getting the first pick, the number one pick, is going to be low, right? But you're going to be in there. You're going to be in the mix. And can you imagine if the Indiana Fever does not make the playoffs? They wind up in the lottery. They do not fire Steph White, which I say her seat is warm. I don't think she's going to be out if they don't make the playoffs. And they're able to pick up a player. Let's just say they mess around. Let's say they mess around, get a lottery, mess around, get the first round pick. Can you imagine, or second round pick, or what, or not second round pick, the first pick in the draft, or a second pick in the draft, or a third pick? Could you imagine them picking up a player like an AZ Foot? Can you imagine that? Like, how amazing would that be? Can you imagine? Can you imagine them getting a player like a Lauren Betts? I know you got Aaliyah Boston, but what if you moved Aaliyah Boston more to that forward position? Fully. Right? Could you imagine? I'm just saying. Like, I think there's some thoughts there. There are some thoughts there. Can you imagine? AZ Foot, Caitlin Clark, and then, we'll see if Kelsey Mitchell wants to stay or not. But, like, dog, that would be epic. So there are some possible positives. It's not all is lost, right? It's not all is lost if they don't make the playoffs. There are some positives out there. I'm just saying. Because, again, they own their pick. They own their pick. I'm just saying. I am just saying. Ghost says Olivia Miles might work well in White's system. I mean, yes. However, if Olivia Miles goes there, I don't think she ever plays. If Caitlin stays healthy next year and Olivia Miles goes to Indiana, I don't think Olivia Miles plays at all, really. Because if Caitlin's healthy, Caitlin's playing, 36, 37 minutes a game. All right? And sure, you want a backup, so maybe you get her as a backup, but like I don't think she plays. I think AZ Fudd could work even if you keep Kelsey Mitchell, right? Can you imagine? You got Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey Mitchell at the 2, AZ at the 3? Come on. Like, man. That would be amazing. That would be amazing, but there's only a chance of that happening if and only if they don't make the playoffs. Do they make the playoffs? Yes, I think they make the playoffs. But I'm trying to give an argument for and against the playoffs. That's what I'm trying to do. All right, that's what I'm trying to do. Teacher says Fudd would be a waste in Indiana because all they see is Caitlin Clark. Well, yeah, but if they can transition Caitlin into more of a path, we know she's a good passer, but like if they can have her be more of a passer than a shooter, if that makes sense. Like, of course, still have Caitlin do her, which is shooting the low threes and all that stuff. But if they can lower a little bit the amount of shots that she takes per game and surround her with AZ Fudd and Kelsey Mitchell, dog, Caitlin's she's going to average like 17 assists per game. 17 to 20 assists per game. If that happened. Now, I don't know if it will, but I'm just saying, like that. Can you imagine? She'd be the first player ever in the WNBA to average, close to 12 plus assists per game. If they were able to lower the amount of shots that she took and increase the amount of great looks that she got for her teammates. I'm just saying. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how great that would be? It would be amazing. It would be amazing to see. It would be amazing to see. I'm saying not like literally averaging, but like, seeing that happen. I actually do think that could happen. I really do. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know. But I really do think that if you surround a player with so many shooters, I'm just saying. I am just saying. Why in the world are y'all talking about Angel? What does this have to do? Y'all, sometimes y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. Go says, who would draft Tania Latson? I don't know. I'm interested to see how Tania plays with South Carolina. I'm very interested to see that. Very interested to see that. I think she could play the small forward role. I think she could do it. All right. Yes, that's if they make the playoffs. If they don't, then yeah. If you all notice, it's supposed to be paired up with like their standings. So right now, Indiana is anticipated to make the playoffs, which is why they would be likely number 9. Okay. If they don't make the playoffs, then they'll be a top 5 pick. If they don't. Anyway, that's the show. I don't have anything else to say. Thank y'all so much for watching. As per usual, if y'all could, please do me a huge favor, hit that like button. That really does help the channel out a whole lot. Also, if y'all could tell people about the channel and what we are doing here, that would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, man. I don't have anything else to say other than we got a whole lot more WNBA to go. So I hope y'all are entertained. I hope y'all are excited about what we have left in the WNBA. And I hope that this has been informative show for you all. I really do. I'm trying to expand what we do here to not just talk about the previous day's games, which, yeah, I'll talk about the previous day's games, but like, I want this show to be a show that brings you all facts, that brings you all specifics, and that is able to show you all stuff that you all may not have thought about in a way that you may not have thought about it in. So hopefully I have succeeded in that. If I have, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. It really would help the channel out a whole lot. All right. Thank y'all. And I will see y'all in the next one. Let's see. Here we go. Found my end broadcast. All right. Yes, let's leave with this. Let's leave with this. Steffi says, make Tuesday great and be kind to each other. Yes, be kind to each other. Tell somebody that they matter because they truly, truly do. And until next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Are you ready?
Ready, set,